Young Muhammad sat next to his grandfather in the soft glow of the evening. "Grandfather, I want to learn more about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him," he said, his eyes wide with curiosity. His grandfather, a wise and gentle man, smiled warmly. "Of course, my dear. The Prophet Muhammad was a man of noble character." He began to explain how the Prophet was known as the trustworthy. Even before Islam, people knew him for his honesty and trustworthiness, said the grandfather. Young Muhammad listened eagerly, imagining a man who everyone trusted and respected. He would help the widows and the poor without expecting anything in return, the grandfather continued. In his mind's eye, young Muhammad saw the Prophet assisting an elderly woman with her belongings, a kind smile on his face. As the story unfolded, they reached the moment of the first revelation. "Read in the name of your Lord who created," the grandfather recited softly. Muhammad was amazed by the story of how the Quran first came to the Prophet in the cave of Hira. He pictured the awe and reverence of that sacred moment. The grandfather then spoke of the Prophet's mission despite the persecution in Mecca. He was patient and never gave up on his mission despite the hardships. Muhammad imagined the Prophet showing kindness and patience even to his enemies, a beacon of hope in troubled times. The story moved to the hardships faced by the Prophet and his companions during the boycott in the valley of Abu Talib. Food was scarce, but the Prophet never lost faith, said the grandfather. Muhammad felt a deep sympathy for the Prophet's endurance and steadfastness. They arrived at the day of the conquest of Mecca. "Go, for you are free," the grandfather quoted. Muhammad reflected on the Prophet's mercy and justice, understanding the greatness of forgiving those who wronged you. The Prophet loved children and always made time for them, the grandfather said, describing the Prophet playing with his grandsons, Hassan and Hussein. Muhammad imagined himself playing with the Prophet, feeling the warmth of his love and kindness. The grandfather spoke of the Prophet's humility. He never acted superior to anyone. Muhammad learned about the Prophet's simplicity and modesty, realizing how important it was to treat everyone equally. The story of the Laba illustrated the Prophet's capacity for forgiveness. "He always forgave those who wronged him," said the grandfather. Muhammad now understood that forgiveness is a true strength. The teachings on the rights of women and children were next. "The best of you is the one who is best to his family." Muhammad learned about the Prophet's emphasis on family values, feeling inspired to be kind and loving to his own family. The grandfather recounted the Prophet's commitment to justice, even in the most difficult situations. "Even if my daughter Fatima stole, I would cut off her hand." Muhammad reflected on this unwavering dedication to justice, understanding its importance. The story of the Battle of the Trench showed the Prophet working alongside his companions. He worked alongside them as one of them. Muhammad learned the value of teamwork and cooperation from this example. The Prophet also taught the importance of knowledge. "Seeking knowledge is a duty upon every Muslim," said the grandfather. Muhammad felt a surge of inspiration to pursue learning, following the Prophet's example. Lastly, the grandfather shared how the Prophet showed kindness to animals and taught mercy. "Whoever does not show mercy will not be shown mercy."